Hello again. This is another stream. The image that you saw on the screen is a completed image that I did I think a day before, using the Pico 8 palette, which is right there at the top. Deformed. That's not the proper palette. I messed it up somehow in the previous sketch. So what I wanted to do is to sort of frame this picture that you see there on the right of this fake splash screen of a racing game called Monaco Motor Racing. I decided I wanted to have some stuff on the sky, almost like if this was just the intro screen for the game. So I decided to do a biplane with a banner hanging. So you see me sort of struggling with the oranges and yellows there because I kind of feel like there's something wrong. Like I shouldn't have to use a skin tone to sort of make that shading. And this is why this is when I realized that the palette may be a little bit wrong. So I go and search for a new one. I search for the cars at the bottom. I don't find that orange from the Porsche. So I just download a new one and fix my previous one. So the method that I'm using is basically starting out with a silhouette because this is a very limited color palette. There's no real room for me to build my image as I go in terms of colors. I have to build the silhouettes and then figure out what color will fit the best. And the reason why I just absolutely fell in love with the Pico 8 palette is that it's very versatile in the sense that there is no color that is truly desaturated except for black. All the other colors have tints, and those tints, they just give it this sort of versatility. Like you can use them wherever. So the dark gray is actually sort of like an olive gray. And the bright gray is more like towards the purples. It's yeah, very versatile. So again, like in the previous video that I posted with the airplanes, World War II airplanes, I'm using the cut lines as shapes for the to show the silhouette of the airplane, and I'm using sort of the same perspective just out of fun. So for making the banner, I just separate light and dark. I add a bit of the dithering again just for smoother transitions, and then I handwrite the word welcome on it, sort of following the shape of the banner, of the three-dimensionality of the banner. And this is very helpful, again, because otherwise that would just be a wavy surface with colors on them. But because I put the text on it and the text is deformed to the geometry of the face, I think it reads better. So at this point, I was a bit bored with having to do the text, so I decided I should add a TV helicopter. So I was looking online for references, and I think this is probably an MSNBC helicopter. I'm not sure. I just Googled helicopter images. So I kind of went with the same color scheme, or a very similar color scheme. And the difficulty here was figuring out how you can do those reflections, but still keep a color scheme that people understand. That is just paint. That it's not a different material or a different shading. And again, it worked well because the palette is fairly versatile. Now, what I'm having difficulty here is with adding detail to a shape, in this case the helicopter, that I really don't recognize that well. I have not drawn those many helicopters in my life, and the ones that I drew were usually sort of stylized. So I add another one at the back there just for depth. This is when I have two of them on the screen. And though I do a few fixes here on the background elements that I kind of rushed previously when I did that image. So for sort of a main element, because of the verticality of the image, I decide to create a stand for the Finnish flag, for the checkered flag. So there's going to be a guy up there standing. I add those railings. Those are very confusing to make. I mean, they were not confusing in their structure, but they were confusing to make for me because I was trying to keep things separate as layers, but I kept painting on the wrong layer. So that was very distracting. The angles aren't really easy to do. They're very tight. So these are the poles, and the poles, I put wires on the cross sections, and then that didn't look safe. So I put cross beams, and those things kind of overlaid on each other. And it was so much work. And then it went behind the fence and really became just a noisy mess that I couldn't even use. So now I'm putting in the guy just with his hands on the brim there, the edge. And I painted the sleeves red up to a point so that I could sell the sense that the guy was under a shadow. So the head and the shoulders are under shadow, but the arms are poking out. So here I just spread out my canvas. And I kind of really like how some of those protections on the ground kind of sit on the white. I kind of really like that. So I just decided to crop the image inwards by adding clouds in the sky to sort of simulate that, well, this is Monaco. There shouldn't be those many clouds, but just to frame it all almost like some box art. Even though the press start, I should have taken it away because it doesn't really look that good. So I just finish up the letters by thickening them up because I think I've got most of the elements. And yeah, so this is the final result. And again, I hope you guys have enjoyed this and learned something. So take care, and I'll see you in the next one.